Officer Jamal Mitchell, badge 4819. He was the hero that the city of Minneapolis needed. My name is Luke Weatherspoon. I had the pleasure of being sworn in with Jamal, going through the academy with Jamal. I also have had the honor of calling him one of my closest friends. Today I'm honored to tell you about my guy, Officer Jamal Mitchell. Jamal and I graduated the academy together about a year and a half ago. About this time last year, we were finishing up FTO together on the north side of Minneapolis, making plans for the future, planning our careers, celebrating accomplishments. For those of you who don't know Jamal, he had plans to join the Minneapolis Police Athletic League. That's a role that he held near and dear to his heart, and it was reflective in his daily work. He was perfect for that role. He had plans. He had a very bright future ahead of him. I'm still in utter shock about the events that unfolded. As a police officer, you are consistently engaged with people on the worst day of their lives. You witness tragedy and see genuine pain. Words cannot express the emotions that I had when I found out that there was a fallen Minneapolis police officer. There are not words to explain the emotions that exist when you find out that that fallen police officer was somebody who you consider a brother. As soon as I found out that there was an officer down, Mitch was actually my first call. It's still so painful to imagine what his family is going through. When I saw Tori walk into HCMC that day, it broke my heart. I will forever view being a police officer differently from that day moving forward. Jamal was much more than a police officer. He was an outstanding father, strongly engaged with his children. I talked to him on the phone a few weeks ago, and I heard him talking to his daughter, Mason. It stood out to me because of his genuine love for her. You could hear it in his voice. That specific conversation ended with him having to go and get his sons from the bus stop. Jamal lived for his family. Jamal loved them unconditionally. Jamal never missed an event for his kids, to include plays, dance recitals, birthdays. He did all of this on top of working a good amount of overtime, volunteering with the community, and the other demands that come with being a police officer. Jamal was deeply driven by his ability to give back to the community. He volunteered with the Boy Scouts of America, countless food shelves, coached basketball, and he always enjoyed giving back to his community. Jamal was incredible. Jamal was also a good friend. He was nice, respectful. He was always bringing everybody together. He was all-inclusive, and he always had a plan. He would always check up on you, even though he was busy doing all the things that he did. He would always make time for you. For those who don't know, his son and I have the same birthday. After blowing out the candles, putting his kids to sleep that night, he actually beat me to my own birthday celebration this year. I was sent a picture of him and my other friends waiting for me. Jamal always had your back. He was always someone you could count on. If you were lucky enough to call Jamal your friend, you could count on him amping you up, celebrating your accomplishments and successes. If you were lucky enough to have Jamal as your friend, he would call you when he was grabbing food, see if you wanted him to pick you up something. He was always so thoughtful. Jamal would call me and he would tell me, "I checked your work schedule for XYZ day. I noticed that none of your squad partners are working. Coincidentally, none of my squad partners are working either. So why don't you come in early and we're going to be partners that day." I wish I would have done that more. Jamal was an avid basketball player. Besides being part of the group at the Maple Grove Lifetime, he took a lot of pride in coaching the kids. I remember in the academy, we had some downtime one day, and as a class, we played a game. Not only did he show off his abilities, but he showed us that he was a team player. Jamal was a hero off the job, too. The day before he was taken from us, he put on a pair of his prized Nikes from his extensive shoe collection and took his kids to the pool. For those of you who don't know, Jamal was absolutely a sneakerhead. He noticed while he was at the pool that there was a kid in the water struggling to stay above the water. Jamal jumped in, still wearing his favorite pair of Nikes on his feet, to save the child. Jamal was the kind of guy who saw someone in distress and everything else went out the window. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." Jamal became a Minneapolis police officer after a brief stint as an airport police officer. He decided to serve the city of Minneapolis because we needed him. In a post-2020 world, against the advice of countless mentors, he decided to embrace the challenge. He did this not because it was easy, but because it was difficult. Minneapolis needed not just another officer, but someone like Jamal. Someone who cared deeply about establishing genuine bonds with the community. A man who truly wanted to make a genuine difference in this corner of the world. Someone who got out of the squad car, walked into restaurants, shops, and businesses, sometimes just to talk. Jamal made friends throughout the entire city doing just that. Jamal would follow up with families who were the victim of crimes to ensure that they felt safe. I remember one time, he gave me an address and he told me to go and do extra patrols in the area after he took an arson report. He took this very seriously after he ran into a house and had to save lives of people when the house was on fire. I told him, "Thanks, Sarge." But the truth is that I respected Jamal, and I respected that he took the time to do that. Jamal was an outstanding police officer. I remember in the academy, Jamal did call in sick the day that we were supposed to be exposed to CS gas. How convenient, I thought. I remember teasing him about it during FTO. The truth is, when Jamal ran into that house as it was burning on fire, he got all the smoke that day. Jamal always talked about it like it wasn't a big deal. I asked him if before he went in there, he knew for sure that there was somebody in there. He looked at me and shrugged. He said the house was on fire and someone maybe needed help. When it came to Jamal and someone needed help, everything else went out the window. Jamal had great pride in being a police officer. He donned the uniform proudly, answering his true calling. For those of you who don't know, on his personal phone, his voicemail started off with, "This is Officer Mitchell." I remember teasing him about it. From the first time I called him, I heard that voicemail. Jamal took great pride in the oath that he gave, and he proudly proclaimed himself as an officer. I always admired that about him. The last time I saw Mitch was 5/30/2024. I had to work late that morning. I was not happy about it. After finishing my reports, I walked out of the report writing room at the precinct. I was running towards the door. On my way out, I saw Mitch standing in the hallway at the precinct. The anger that I had harbored quickly dissipated. We made eye contact. We looked at each other for a second, and I said, "Goofball Jamal." He looked at me and said, "Dookie Lukey." Mitch had a way about him that seem to just always bring a smile to your face. Mitch is the hero that the city of Minneapolis needed. And in a time when we only have questions, I can tell you one answer that I have. God needed a hero, and he called on Mitch. Mitch answered the call without hesitation, without delay. Mitch rode the wings of an angel, arrived at the gates of heaven, greeted by a contingency of family and friends. He was welcomed with open arms. Mitch and his family made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of peace. We must continue the legacy that he designed. We must stand by his loved ones and continue to advocate for peace in the community. When Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, he stated, "It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion." We must, and I repeat, we must continue Mitch's legacy of community engagement. He was an avid community member and worked hard to establish many significant relationships with the community that he served. He gave his free time to serve others, and in his own words, attempted to make this corner of the earth a much better place. Mitch succeeded in doing that. Mitch was devoted to encompassing what the city of Minneapolis needed in its officers. He was profoundly engaged in community policing, from coaching basketball, reading to children, or making his rounds to visit stores and restaurants in the community. The best way that we can honor Mitch is to spend quality time with his amazing family, to show them how much we appreciate the sacrifice that Mitch made. Mitch had a true passion for the community, and we as a department must continue the legacy that he designed naturally. We have some pretty big shoes to fill. I'm calling on every officer in this building to think about Jamal the next time that you get in that squad car. And remember that he would have wanted you to get out that car and engage with your communities. Mitch, we appreciate what you did, and this is not the end of your story. Officer Jamal Mitchell, badge number 4819, the hero that the city of Minneapolis needed. Outstanding job, sir. Until we meet again.